Hello there, welcome back. Now, our next guest always dreamt of becoming a teacher, but her career was tragically cut short when she was brutally attacked by one of her pupils.
Michelle Stone was left with severe spinal injuries, chronic pain and mobility issues after one of her students threw a chair at her, hitting her across the back.
And as she warns more needs to be done to tackle classroom violence, Michelle joins us now to share her story. Good morning to you.
Morning.
Good morning, lovely to see you.
Thank you for having me.
Now, this was something you always wanted to do. You always wanted to be a teacher,
absolutely.
ever since you were a little girl, essentially.
Yeah, absolutely. My poor brother, he was my first pupil ever since we were together. But no, I mean, I always joke that if I was a stick of rock and you broke me in half, I would have teacher written all the way through me. That's me.
What was it about teaching that you loved so much?
About helping people and a little bit about being in charge as well, you know.
So in 2018, you became a head teacher.
Yes.
At the school where you were working.
I did.
How was it?
Oh, it was fabulous. It was a real... Anybody that's ever worked in a special needs school will know about the camaraderie and the group. Everybody's got everyone else's back. It was great.
It was 2019 when the incident happened and you were attacked by this pupil.
Yes.
Tell us what happened that day, Michelle.
So on that particular day, this particular pupil wasn't able to be, we weren't able to regulate their emotions. They continued to be really dysregulated, really upset. And unfortunately, they picked up an office chair and hit me across the back with it. My colleague, who was trying to protect me at the time, who had seen something coming from an angle that I hadn't seen, sort of put out his arm, the wonderful Neil Joyce, and tried to stop the chair actually reaching me. And he suffered injuries on the day as well. And then he scooped me up round the waist and kind of took me out of the room.
Did you feel as though you'd had a serious injury straight away? Did you go to A&E? Did you go to the hospital? What happened next?
So there's always a lot of paperwork after these sorts of things, and the adrenaline carries you through. None of us were really quite sure what had happened because although we were all highly trained in de-escalation and special needs and violence and breakaways and all of that, that level of incident was really quite rare. So we were all sort of high on adrenaline, all doing the paperwork, writing the reports, all of us together then in the office afterwards. And it wasn't until then that I sort of started to feel a little bit sore. And I said to my colleague, I think I'll get Mum to come and pick me up. I won't drive. I'll just go home and rest. And then on the drive home, Mum said, oh, I think I might just take you to A&E. And they had a look me over and said, yes, we think you've probably got a couple of broken ribs, collarbone, but we'll put you in a sling. There's no point scanning or anything. As you know, they don't do anything for broken ribs, so it's just a case of, 6 to 8 weeks, they'll heal. Exactly. Yeah, so that was what we did. I went away with some painkillers and a sling.
So when did things start escalating and when did you realise it wasn't just a couple of broken ribs?
So after that sort of 8 weeks, I went back to the GP and I said, there's something not right. I can still feel pain, quite significant pain. And by this time, it was more in my hip and sort of the top of my leg. And she was lovely, the GP, really lovely, and said, right, OK, well, we'll give you some stronger painkillers, and then you should be able to move a bit better, because as everybody knows, with a bad back, don't sit down, don't keep moving. So did exactly that, and she said, but if you get any of these symptoms, you must phone the ambulance or phone the doctor or whatever. And some of those symptoms were numbness in your sort of groin area and severe pain down in certain parts of your body. Yeah. So one night I did collapse and my child called 999 and I was taken into hospital.
And when you were taken into hospital, what did they discover?
So they did several scans at that point, and they found that the spine and the discs had been sort of affected by this incident. Yes, exactly. Yeah, yeah.
So when the chair had flown at you, it impacted your spine and dislodged the disc, dislodged the joint? Something
had happened where there was like a squashed nerves. Right. The nerves had been squashed in some way, and then they sort of needed to do some surgeries to relieve that. pressure on the nerves, if that makes sense.
Yeah. So then what were the surgeries you had to go through, and how has it kind of affected your life now? Because you've got 3 kids of your own too.
Yes, exactly.
Has it affected your life?
It was life-changing, not to be too dramatic. So there's been several surgeries. There's been, there's been sort of bones shaved off. There's been discs shaved in half and taken out so that they've relieved. There's been all sorts. I've had some injections to relieve pain. The latest big surgery was about 18 months ago, and that was when I had 3 vertebrae fused in the base of my spine. And that was wonderful to start with. And that's what's always happened. Everything was great for a few weeks or a couple of months, and then I've had to go back in. So I go back in again on March the 17th for another fusion.
Oh, gosh.
So, but you're absolutely right, Kat. It has changed my life with my 3 children. I think that all 3 of them have been affected. My youngest has got autism and has needed me. I know it sounds really small, but I wasn't able to push her on a swing after dinner. And that image sits with me and it stays with me. And as a mother, parent, I feel quite useless in that, because as an autistic child, she needed to be on a swing after dinner. And that was one of the things that I couldn't do. And then my middle child, she is supposed to be sitting at A-levels this year, and she hasn't done as well as she could have done because of all of her caring responsibilities, because she cares for her younger sister and she cares for me a lot. And her brother's gone off to university. I mean, that's just rude, isn't it?
Listening to you talk, and you're so brilliantly eloquent, Michelle. My heart breaks that the career that you dreamt of and clearly were excelling in has been so cruelly taken away from you. And you had real concerns in the environment as well. The big issue here is violence is escalating in schools, and teachers just aren't feeling safe. And that was something that you had spoken to senior management about, hadn't you?
Yes, I had, absolutely. And for this particular child as well, that we, although we were highly trained, and because it was a special school, a lot better trained than some of our mainstream colleagues, bless them. Now, as you've sort of alluded, that's actually happening in mainstream schools as well. And my colleagues in mainstream are suffering the very same fates. And I've since been on social media. I've had so many messages. It's happened to me, my brother, my aunt, my father. You know, and it's something that needs to be spoken about.
So, Michelle, in your experience and knowing it from both sides and being the head teacher too, and then having this experience happen to you, what would you like to see done? What would you like to happen?
Teachers need more resources.
Yeah.
That's fundamentally what it is. And it's not going to be a quick fix. But if you imagine you've asked a builder to build you a house and you present him with 100 bricks, and he says to you, I can't build you a house with 100 bricks. And you say, oh, are you not a good enough builder? Oh, what if I send you on a training course on how to build a house with 100 bricks? And he's like, no, I still can't build you that house. And that's exactly what's happening with teachers. They're being told they're not good enough. They're being told, go on a course. They're being told, oh, if you did this, then you would have got a better outcome. No. And if we can understand the analogy of builders and bricks, why can't we understand the analogy that teachers need support? They need teaching assistants, and they're being cut by their droves. They really are. Any teacher now that's got a teaching assistant is usually because the child has got an EHCP, which I know is in the press a lot at the moment as well, and that TA is allotted to that specific child. So, but we want to support pupil-teacher relationships, pupil-adult relationships. And the more psychology that's coming out about behaviour and the ability for teachers and staff to support a child's behaviour, it is very much around that relational building, that relational practice. And one teacher can't do it with 30.
No. You received a settlement from the school.
I did.
And you're now registered disabled. What does the future look like, do you think, for you, Michelle?
I don't know. I like to help out where I can. I still help out some parents in the community that are a bit confused with all the SEN paperwork, and I go to tribunals with parents where I can and just sort of help and support the SEN community.
but just trying to stay in touch with that community that you loved so much.
Absolutely.
Well, look, we spoke to the school about your case, and they said our focus is on creating the right environment and the right placement to ensure a young person's individual needs are met. In the latest Ofsted report from October 24, the school was rated good, with 2 outstanding areas in behaviour and attitudes and personal development. We work hard to provide safe and nurturing spaces for everyone in our school. We wish Michelle Stone all the best for the future. And someone from the Department of Education said no teacher should ever feel unsafe at work or face violence or abuse in the classroom. We're investing £200 million for training on special educational needs for all teachers and support staff, as well as £3 billion to create more inclusive spaces for those in mainstream schools. That investment, which clearly you understand is the importance of it, is it going in the right places, do you think, Michelle?
I'm scared that it's not. And I think that perhaps before the investment, we might need a public review on expenditure and where it's going. It is quite scary. There are big lots of money going in the wrong places. We've seen things in the press about CEO salaries, and then there's one case that a CEO's salary could pay for 30 teaching assistants. Yeah. We need it at the chalk face. That's where we need it.
Well, thank you for coming in.
Oh, thank you.
It's been lovely to